Wild horses. The most American animal if bald eagles are sick that day.
They've tried to do their best. It's our best thinking that got us here, but it's clearly not working.
Well, a lot of people believe that this program has accelerated the wild horses ending up in kill pens.
We're calling it Slaughtergate. It happens about every decade.
Federal officials attempting to round up 3,000 wild horses.
But the predator chasing these horses is anything but natural.
You can see the terror and the fear.
Now we're learning that many of those horses wound up in slaughterhouses.
This is the captive bolt gun. It uses air pressure to shoot a bolt into a horse's skull.
The livestock industry has a huge amount of power and money, and they want all the horses gone.
And the fact of the matter is, this is a purely profit-driven industry.
BLM's mission is to provide for, to ensure the health and productivity of public lands.
Well, it's all about the grazing. Get rid of the buffalo, get rid of the mustangs, get rid of the burros, get rid of 9 species of animals in order for the cattle industry, the meat industry to survive and get rid of your competition.
As soon as they step up outside of the park border, they're shot. It took them, I don't know how many containers to clean up all the gut piles and everything they left last year.
We're not siding with the ranchers, we're siding with the horses. And this is truly what the science is telling us to do.
It's grazing right battle. Cattlemen's Association against the wild horses, been that way since I was a kid here.
So it's a fixed game that we're fighting against, because the Bureau of Land Management, the U.S. Forestry Service, the National Park Service, all rounding up wild mustangs and burros.
They need to stop that. Leave the wild horses alone.
We are here with Randy Massaro, who you all have seen from our Wolf Mountain Sanctuary video. And the more we hang out with Randy and his merry band of animal protecting friends, the more we learn about how many irrational policies there are when it comes to our relationship with animals, our interdependence with them. I don't think the average citizen is aware that a lot of these horses are being wound up, put in pens, injured, hurt, euthanized, or castrated without really having a discussion about it, you know? America's great wild mustangs. I feel like that's something we should at least talk about. We flew to Reno to attend a BLM Advisory Board meeting. Not to be confused with this BLM, we're talking about the Bureau of Land Management, who's responsible for the largest share of public lands in the world.
That's Blanket Butt and his sister. Blanket Butt's still alive. The one that looks like with the blanket on his butt. He's still alive. The sister got hit. A lot of these horses get hit on the freeway.
That was Shanimal, who produces the Radio Roundup with Eddie Floyd. They're reaching people through alternative media as well as traditional radio to bring awareness to issues that matter to lovers of the great American wilderness.
That's all it boils down to. Who's making the money? Follow the dollar when it comes to the horse roundups.
America has to understand what's going on behind the roundups. The Department of the Interior, which is usually cattle ranchers, or they keep putting in pro-cattle ranching people to run the Department of the Interior. So the tentacles of the Department of the Interior is like the Bureau of Land Management.
Well, on top of that, I don't know if the public's aware of the millions of wasted federal tax-paying dollars that goes to fund these roundups. I am a part of nature. We're breathing, hydrating, eating off the earth. How do we not see ourselves as a cell, a part of this earth? And when you align and think with nature, you think different and you come up with different solutions that are sustainable, that last for, epochs.
I saw video as kind of a way to get more nuanced stories out there.
Right.
And when I go and see the story in person, it's never what I hear on the news. And that was so shocking to me. There's so many issues that could have bipartisan support that any person looking at it would have the same reaction. They're just not seeing what we're seeing. These people are passionate, spending their own dollars to travel to meetings to advocate for solutions, even adopting animals and contributing huge portions of their income to sanctuaries. Have a look. I feel like Steve Irwin. This is the horse poop we've heard so much about. And as we've been told, this poop is special because it does not digest seeds. And seeds are fruit's way of traveling through our intestines to another place to live.
They're putting fertilizer where there's nothing growing. It's instinct. I notice they always poop on man-made surfaces because they're so dead.
We had heard the animal advocates' side of the story and seen these majestic animals for ourselves. But I grew up the son of an investigative journalist, and it's so important to me to understand every side of an issue. What was driving the people who looked at a population of 60,000 odd wild horses spread across millions of acres of public land to bring those numbers down? Especially when you consider that we have almost 30 million cattle in the United States, according to the USDA. But before the big advisory board meeting, we interviewed ecologist and author Craig Downer to help us come equipped with reverence for these animals that doesn't deny our reliance on generational ranchers who are indispensable to feeding our nation.
'Tis a saga of the Old West, and I believe the New. This story of the wild horse, this enduring, wind-drinking runner of desert and plain, as alas, of very time. His story is one with yours and mine. May he reach far upon this earth plain. For 'tis a saga of what this land is yet to be, of a destiny yet unfulfilled, when man and horse in freedom live, once again with mutual respect.
With softened hearts, we greeted the sunrise on our way to Reno. Driving us was Roger Dobson, a Native American who had dedicated his life to managing a sanctuary and fighting for America's most recognizable species, from horses to wolves and the lands they inhabit. Now, Reno is a great metaphor for the lights and noises and strip malls that have come to replace those purple mountains and amber waves of grain that were once called America. I loved hearing from people who were looking for inspiring ideas outside the box, and I was hoping that the BLM might be open to these ideas. They're headquartered in my hometown of Washington, D.C. I know these people. They have Peloton bikes. They stand in line for cupcakes. They ask you, what do you do at a party? In some sense, these are my people. We joined this open and transparent meeting to hear from the people and the government-appointed stewards of America's most unique resource, the public lands.
I come from a line of horse lovers. I'm 68 years old. The first horse I ever rode was a Mustang. You can get the 45,000 other extra horses off in Nevada's range.
We'd like to ask that tribes be considered for, opinion, involvement. Every tribe and all its people are different opinions.
I'm here to extend the olive branch and friendship to you, but I got a whole room of undercover video footage. We're talking to 3 federal judges about going to Congress to show the undercover stuff that we have. Eyewitness testimonials, the threats from the BLM to business owners in Utah and Colorado.
But I want to encourage us to think bigger and think about a time we had 60 million buffalo roaming wildly. We had birds. We had grass to feed them. The people were speaking, democracy was working, but was it having any impact? We got to speak to this guy, Brian St. George, the Assistant Deputy Director.
So now, in that framework of mission and law, we have a really challenging dilemma to say, in those places where wild horses and burros occur, in many of those places, they are vastly overpopulated and contributing to some of the adverse impacts, the negative impacts that we see to the health and function of our ecosystem on public lands. So the real fundamental question is not should they exist. We know they should. The law tells us they should. Our mission tells us they should. It's not a question of should they exist. It's a question of how can we manage horses to be in as close to a balance as we can with those other important values and uses of public land.
It seems a little sad in today's day and age that we have to note that was really productive conversation, but that was really productive conversation. Thank you.
The local news even showed up to cover the event because this issue of wild horses never goes away. People love these animals. They are a beacon of light that attracts visitors from all over the world to experience Mother Nature firsthand while we still can. The reason I love journalism and creating content for you all to watch and enjoy and maybe learn from is that I love people. I think just like the horses have a place to coexist with us, the BLM and the animal advocates and the radio disc jockeys have a purpose and place in the grand story of friendship. Subscribe to this channel for more, and remember, just like these horses, you are loved.